Hey guys, Katie Taylor here from scrappinkaty.com, where I show you how to preserve your family's memories through the art of scrapbooking. In today's video, I am playing along with the COAPA Cut Files 20 Days of Christmas, and today's prompt is all about the Christmas decorations. I'll be using one of the COAPA Cut Files to make a shaker layout for my December daily album. So off camera, I have cut the file. I have a 6x8 piece of pattern paper. I have all the insides. I have my base and the acetate. So to make this work to be a shaker card, I'm going to turn that, what I call a negative space over, and on the back, I'm going to use a very strong adhesive so it'll stick to the acetate. I prefer this double-sided tear tape. But you could also use red line tape. I will be using some Bearly Art liquid glue for just the little bitty pieces on the inside, and it seems to work well as well. So you can see here, this is where that Bearly Art glue will come in, and this is just going to make sure that all those little pieces actually stayed adhered down to my acetate. Now, hindsight, I probably should have peeled back the backing from this tear tape first, but I make it work just kind of by holding on to some of those little bitty pieces that don't have the liquid adhesive on them. I love using my paper piercer to kind of start the peeling process, and it peels off real nicely. You can see that. I am going to attach my acetate on top instead of turning this negative space over and trying to attach the acetate. I think it's just a little bit neater that way. I did not get it perfect, so I am going to trim the edges off camera. So here's a look at that, and to lay the inside pieces down, I'm going to take the title, Deck the Halls, just kind of place it there temporarily, and then use my Bearly Art glue to adhere down the center pieces. Now you can't probably see it right now, but the reason you need the center pieces is so when I peel back the actual title, Deck the Halls, you'll be able to see the title. You recall when I first turned that piece of paper over on that acetate, you really couldn't see what it is because there's just so much of that title that's in the center that was all cut out. So I'm just going to keep on doing this. And again, you can see I'm using that Bearly Art liquid glue. Close My Heart also has a liquid glass that is also pretty good. It just doesn't dry as soft, I guess, for lack of a better word. The liquid glass is kind of like a harder dry, if you know what I'm talking about. So I'm going to finish this off, and these tiny pieces, I found that it was easier just to apply the adhesive to the acetate, and then by using my tweezers, I can then place those pieces of pattern paper over onto the acetate. Now I am using the Christmas Story pattern paper, and the only way to get that right now is through the workshop kit. I'll leave links down below if you want to grab that. So here's where I'm peeling back that title, and now you can see the title on that acetate. So now I'm just going to take my bone folder, make sure that that score tape is really, really adhered down to that acetate, and then I can lift it up from that 6x8 base cardstock, which is toffee, and I can apply 3D foam tape to the outside. Before I do that, I want to make sure that that static is away from that acetate, so when I put the sequins into the shaker, they just don't go everywhere. So for my 3D foam tape, I am using a thinner width. This is 1/4 inch. And I'm also using the regular foam tape. So Close to My Heart, one thing I love about the foam tape, if you follow me here, is we have a regular thickness. It's the same thickness that you can get everywhere else. And then we have a thin 3D foam tape that is wonderful for like cards, or if you add dimension to numerous layers. It just doesn't add a whole lot of bulk. But because this is going to be a shaker and I'm going to be adding some sequins, I definitely want that thicker foam tape. And then this 1/4 inch is going to allow me to go all around the outside edges, as well as block off some of the pieces of this that don't really need sequins. So you can see that little end down there, and then this little piece that kind of juts out by itself. Sequins don't need to go in there. There's no reason. They're just going to kind of get lost in there. So by blocking them off with the foam tape, they won't go in there unnecessarily. So I'm just going to apply this a couple of more places. And like I said in the beginning, this is a perfect opportunity to remind you that this is the 20 Days of Christmas COAPA cut files. And she's actually offering a 25% discount on all of her files. And I'll leave that linked down below. So you'll just want to expand the description. And then you can see her Facebook page, her Etsy shop, all of that. And she's got tons to choose from. And like I said, all of her files are 25% off, or maybe most of them. But she has a 25% off sale until December 20th. Now, this is New Zealand time, so that is why you're watching day 14 on the 13th of December. So you want to make sure you catch that sale through the 19th of December here in the US. So you can see here, I am just peeling back the backing from this 3D foam tape, and that is going to allow me to then put some of these sequins in here. Now I'm just using a little tiny spoon, and I'm just sprinkling those into the open spaces, and then some of the little spaces where that 3D foam tape just kind of creates pockets. You don't want too much on a shaker. Now, number one, this is going to be in an album, not a card. So there's not a whole lot of shaking going on in an album, even in the 6x8 December daily that I'm doing. But you do want it to shake, and you want to be able to see those. And then to add some color, I am just taking some glitter from Michael's, and I'm just sprinkling that in there. I don't want a whole lot of red because if you remember, the front side of this layout is actually a whole lot of red. But I do want some pops. I don't want just gold. So I'm going to shake that to just kind of even it out, and then I'm going to turn this toppy piece of cardstock over onto that piece. That is going to make it really, really easy, again, instead of building it right side up. If you kind of build it backwards, it stays in place. So you can see here kind of what that looks like. And there's a whole lot of just open space. So I am going to spend the next minute or so kind of decorating that open space. This holly and these berries are from an older embellishment pack that I had. And the berries are actually made out of glitter cardstock. So, so pretty. And I'm going to use some 3D foam circles to pop those up just to kind of add some dimension. And then I'm also going to add some sequins here and there. I did do that off camera, but it was still missing something. So I am going to take my gel pen and just run a thin line all the way around that 6x8. Now you wouldn't think that a white gel pen would do much on such a busy pattern paper, but in the end I really like just that extra little detail and finishing off that it did for this layout. I am going to add some heartstrings here and there. They're called heartstrings because they're little ties, but you actually make a heart and then you just draw strings out to the side. It's something that I do very often if you are new here. Now, as far as following the prompt of Christmas decorations, this will go in my December daily album across from the layout where I have a stack of my decorations that we got out of storage. So make sure you are subscribing and following along so you can see the rest of my December daily album come together, as well as click on any of the links down below to order any of the supplies that I used if they are still available. And don't forget that the biggest support that you can do is like, share, and follow my channel for more inspiration. Don't forget to go check out the COAPA Cut Files Etsy shop for 25% off through December 19th here in the US. Thanks and have a wonderful week.